But on October 10th, crypto had what I would call Armageddon, a flash event, but it led to a liquidation that was never seen in the 15 years history of Bitcoin. About a third of the market makers went out of business that day. Almost 2 million accounts went to zero.
Yeah.
And it was because of a pricing error, what I would call a glitch. It led to what they call auto deleveraging.
You've definitely made that case that it definitely seems as if there was something in the kind of market maker functioning that got fouled. Yeah. Now, that being said, the reason you can have all those accounts auto-liquidated is because there were that many accounts with that much leverage that got Bitcoin up to where it was, above 120.
Yes.
Right? I mean, so it's not as if it happened in a vacuum.
Yeah. So in a way, it means crypto represents really a very precise measurement of risk appetite, because there's so much more leverage. And that got wiped out.
Right.
That last time it happened in 2022, it took 8 weeks before people sort of touch their toes back in. I think that's where we are. We're near a bottom. But now I don't think crypto leads. Crypto is lagging because it's really the AI that's going to be leading.
Okay, so basically that is kind of sidelined the idea of what, Bitcoin 150,000 you were thinking before?
Well, I think it's still very likely that Bitcoin's going to be above 100,000 before year end, and maybe even above one to a new high. So Bitcoin makes its moves in 10 days and every year. I think some of those best days are still going to happen before year end.
5% of enterprise adoptions of AI not working out. Now MIT has built agent clones of 151 million working Americans, essentially software counterparts to real people, in order to identify which jobs are most at risk years before layoffs hit. Now, it's called the iceberg index, and it uses these agents to map more than 32,000 skills across 923 occupations in 3,000 counties, revealing exposure to AI displacement in every state, not just coastal cities. The report shows that while only 2% of AI-driven wage disruption is visible in tech hubs today, there's actually a hidden layer of exposure that is 5 times larger than what we see today, cutting across industries and geographies, hence why they call it the iceberg index. Now, findings indicate that AI can already take over tasks tied to nearly 12% of the U.S. labor market. That's about $1.2 trillion in wages, especially in careers tied to healthcare, finance, and professional services. For lawmakers preparing billion-dollar reskilling and training investments, the index offers a detailed map of where disruption is forming down to the zip code, and crucially, a way to run what-if scenarios before they commit real money and legislation. You've got states like Tennessee, Utah, and North Carolina, also co-authors on this new report, that are already using Iceberg to test everything from new training programs to skills-first hiring rules before they formally commit to policies and spending.
Basically creating a digital twin for the U.S. labor force.
But researchers do stress that this isn't a countdown clock to layoffs. It's more of an early warning map so that policymakers can move money and training around before the shock hits. And so the coolest component of this report is the fact that the Iceberg team has built an interactive simulation environment that allows states to actually experiment with different policy levers, from shifting workforce dollars and tweaking training programs to actually exploring how changes in tech adoption might actually affect local employment and GDP. Tennessee has been the furthest along with this. They've actually built their own AI and work dashboard that tracks occupational exposure and wage effects across the state, and that's helping currently to guide its policy and spending decisions.
All right, well, let's hope Elon Musk is right then, that we won't need money or jobs.
Because work is optional?
Yeah, work is going to be optional.
Like growing vegetables.
Yeah, that would pair nicely with this. Thank you, Mackenzie.
Welcome to the Cryptoteacher.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. Now, the FTX situation is crazy, but we know it gets even crazier. You're watching nothing but a movie. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have Tom Lee says that Bitcoin could hit all-time highs by the end of the year. And we don't have to worry about predictions. All we have to do is follow the Fed. And we know it was definitely not a glitch when you're dropping 20, 30%. That was done on purpose by the banks using an algorithm. And we know these algorithms are undefeated. And we know the banks are the biggest what? I'll let you finish that. And then we have MIT does a study and says that 11% of jobs that we have right now, AI can replace. Not in 2 years, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but right now. And we know for a fact it's probably about 50 or 60% when we see all the technology in Japan and China. And during the C word, the government was the biggest hirer. And who were they hiring? That's right. It was mostly in healthcare. And we know all the technology that they have now, there's no need for nurses or healthcare workers that look out for the elderly because the robots are ready to do it. And what was a part of the MIT survey? That's right, the digital twin. And who did you hear the digital twin first from? That's right, the Cryptoteacher. And you're going to keep hearing about the digital twin because remember, guys, this is just a setup for the virtual world. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And we have the Pentagon back at the China companies. And we know this is nothing but the Hegelian dialectic because they're on our stock market. And we know none of these big corporations run or do anything without the Chinese government. So this is definitely a joke, all a distraction. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And now we have Goldman Sachs says that gold is going to keep moving up in 2026. But guys, don't forget these stable coins are going to get ramped up. And yes, the dollar is going to be taking a beating over these next 2 to 3 years. But we know how the NWO does. They already price it in. Like I stated, sitting at 4,000, that will put the dollar at 50 cents. But again, we don't have to worry about predictions. All we have to do is follow the Fed. The central banks are the ones that are pumping gold because they know it's the fall of fiat. We're going to a cashless society. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you. And of course, I'm going to do a Patreon video on this subject. But we had 2 National Guards being shot. And what does that allow Trump to do? That's right. Keep the National Guard inside of D.C., and we know that's for a reason. They know this economy is going to get worse and worse before they bring in the machines and the free money. Remember, they cause the problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with a solution that they had ready 10, 20 years ago. And remember, the Cryptoteacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Bloomberg report that says the Pentagon is suggesting putting the company on a list for helping the Chinese military. What do we know about that story?
So this really follows the pattern that I have just been talking about. The industry, Beijing, it's concerned about being restricted to U.S. tech, and it knows that it has to rely and build up its own AI champions like an Alibaba. So the U.S. is increasingly viewing China's entire tech stack as strategically aligned with the Communist Party, and that's raising concern in Washington, potentially putting the likes of Alibaba and Baidu and BYD on a list that would restrict them from selling or even operating here in the United States. Now, this is interesting because we're not just talking about Huawei anymore. Huawei is a private company. Concerns have long swirled about its connections to the Communist Party. We're talking about Alibaba and Baidu. These are publicly listed companies that have quarterly earnings, and in the case of Alibaba, has American board members. So it's a really interesting development for sure, and we'll see if they actually bullish gold here.
Yes, we look for nearly 20% of additional price upside by the end of 26. With our forecast at $4,900 per troy ounce by the end of 26. Not as fast as this year. We're up almost 60% year to date. But the 2 drivers of the 25 rally, we think will be repeated in 26. Number 1, structurally higher central bank purchases. Since the freezing of Russia's central bank reserves in 2022, EM reserve managers got this big wake-up call that they need to diversify into gold, which is the only truly safe asset once you hold it in your domestic vault. And second, Fed cuts. Fed cuts because gold is a non-yielding asset, tend to attract inflows into the gold ETF market. Yeah. And with our economists' forecast that you see 75 basis points more of Fed cuts, we get support both from central bank buying and from private investors.
The authorities here in Washington just wrapped up a press conference giving some additional detail on that shooting that we saw here in Washington at just about 2:15 this afternoon, just a couple of blocks away from the White House. Most importantly, what authorities are saying is that the two National Guardsmen who were shot in the incident are alive. They are in critical condition. That contradicts the report that we had from the governor of West Virginia earlier, who said that both of those National Guardsmen had died. Now officials say they are in critical condition and they are receiving medical care. So that's the important headline there. Also, we're learning that the suspect is in custody, and the suspect was shot in this instance by additional National Guardsmen who were on the scene. Not clear exactly who shot him, but they were able to subdue him after the shooting. The investigators are working on his identity now and looking at any connections that he might have had, but they say this was a single shooter, and they believe that there are no other suspects at this time. They say this shooting happened right at the exit to the metro here, just around the corner from the White House, and that the shooter approached the National Guardsman, discharged his weapon immediately, and then almost immediately after that was set upon by the other National Guardsmen who were there. The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, as Secretary of War, as he refers to himself, is now calling for an additional 500 National Guardsmen to be sent to the District of Columbia to reinforce security here. He says he's doing that at the direction of the President of the United States. So we will see more troops on the streets here in Washington, D.C.
Learned, as you just mentioned, is there will be 500 more National Guard joining them in the coming days ahead. That request was received by the Army only moments ago, Kate.
Yeah, we actually have some sound that we've got in now from the Secretary of Defense. Let's go ahead and play that. He's talking about bringing more National Guard to D.C.
This will only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we make Washington, D.C. safe and beautiful. The drop in crime has been historic. The increase in safety and security has been historic. But if criminals want to conduct things like this, violence against America's best, we will never back down.
Going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box, provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in an index, in ETFs, are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.